Chapter 5, The Big Game by Tim Green. "Dad!" Danny cried out as he lifted his father's head off the ground. Reality hit him, and he jumped up and ran home for help. Somehow, between ragged breaths, he told his mother what had happened. They got back to his dad before the ambulance, and Danny stood useless, while his mom sat on the side road with his father's head in her lap. The doctors arrived and tried to revive him. Everything else was a blur in Danny's mind. He remembered the sad look on the doctor's face when he told his mom that her husband was gone, and the ghostly sound of her wailing as the doctor assured Danny there was nothing he could have done. Everyone in Crooked Creek came to the funeral, and it seemed like half of Jericho County as well. Danny stood there next to his mother, dry-eyed, always lively in a crowd. Today she stood stiff, her eyes brimming with tears. The dark suit she wore made him sweat, and the tie made him itch. The coffin loomed to the side of them, but Danny couldn't bear to look at the big waxy figure that had been his dad. The endless line of people all seemed to say the same things. He was just such a great man, just too young for a heart attack. I know you made him so proud, Danny. He always told everyone you'd be better than he was. Sorry for your loss, son. You look just like him. He's gonna live on through you, son." And Danny replied just the same, no matter what they said. "Yes, sir. Thank you, ma'am." Some of the men wore football jerseys, Crooked Creek purple or Jericho gold, beneath their black coats, and told brief stories about how his dad had bested them or others on the gridiron. Their memories were just words to Danny, like pebbles rattling in an empty can. Janny and Cupcake stayed through to the bitter end until those who had been invited to the house after the burial left. "Man," Cupcake said, "everyone sure loved your dad. There must have been 3,000 people. Too bad 2,950 of them were morons." Danny stretched out his feet and loosened his tie. "Why?" Cupcake wrinkled his brow. Danny clenched his sweaty hands. "Football. It's football, that, and oh, you're just like your dad." "Dad? No, you are your dad." "What the heck is that? Why would anyone say that? I mean, he's gone. I'm here." "I'm sure they were only trying to be nice," Janny said quietly. Danny blinked. "Do you think that's nice?" She put a hand on his shoulder. "I know you, but these people knew your dad. They admired him. I think a lot of them wanted to be him." And Danny felt like someone had him in a bear hug. It was so hard to breathe. "But I'm me, right?" Janny grabbed his arm with both hands. Of course you are, Danny. And you're our best friend in the world." After they buried his father, after all the people left and a new day was dawning, Danny didn't talk about what had happened. Janny and Cupcake knew him well and never said another word, but they stayed close for the rest of the summer. When he wasn't alone aimlessly riding the mower, he spent his time hanging out with Janny at the creek or playing Xbox with Cupcake. None of it required him to talk. His mom didn't talk either. She sighed a lot and smoked her thin cigarettes and made dinner for the two of them, which they ate with the TV on. Sometimes she started to cry, but whenever that happened, she'd hurry off to her room like she was ashamed. Danny didn't cry because he didn't let himself think about what had happened. It was just numb. He must have lost track of the days and weeks, too, because he was surprised when, after he and Cupcake defeated a drug lord in the Ghost Recon video game, his friend asked, "You ready for tomorrow?" "What do you mean?" Danny said. "Football." "Football? Stop messing with me, Danny. Practice starts tomorrow. You know that," Cupcake huffed. Danny said, "No, I wasn't thinking." Their headsets remained quiet for some time before Danny said, "Okay, I gotta go." He disconnected his headset before Cupcake could reply and got ready for bed. In the morning, he made himself cinnamon toast before climbing aboard the old John Deere rider mower. They had 5 acres of lawn. It took him all morning to cut it because when he got far from the house, he switched off the engine and just sat there with the sun beating down. Part 2 of Chapter 5, the video stopped for some reason. So, his dad used to call it the devil's glare when it got this hot, the kind of heat that reached your bones. When he headed back for lunch, he spotted a silver Ford F-150 in the driveway. It was a big truck with giant tires and a chrome grille, and his heart skipped a beat at the thought of another man calling on his mom so soon after his dad had died. But he could not think of no other explanation for the big truck, and a roaring wind started up in his head. Pulling into the garage, he hopped off the mower and wiped the sweat from his forehead. Blind no thought, he grabbed a large wrench from the tool chest and charged into the house through the kitchen door. When Danny saw the back of a man sitting at the kitchen table cradling a cup of coffee, he raised the wrench. And that's the end of chapter 5.